Welcome everyone and welcome to All in All United. And we know we're in the festive season, and we know that you all would be enjoying your time and we hope you all had a really, Merry Christmas. So if we didn't say before, from us here at All in All United, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and thanks for joining the review. Now we know we are a day and some minutes late, than our usual schedule, but we were getting some technical difficulties, some that we still, kind of fighting up with. So, for those of you who are going to be watching live, and even those of you who will be watching, after, bear with us and forgive us for the technical, little difficulties that we have in this evening. But we're working real hard to try to get it sorted, But we're here again, and Leicester City versus Manchester United. That draw. It has some draws, Nico, where you feel like you get a point, and it have others where you feel like you drop 2 points. This one for me is the law is a draw that felt like a loss simply because so late in the game we were in a winning position. To come on to concede so late, I really feel as though we lost that game yesterday, even though we would have gained that point. And when you look at the results, it was a good point. But I feel like we could have done better. Talk to my general thoughts.
Yeah, guys, again, sorry again. A lot of technical difficulties, and especially on my end. Merry Christmas to you all, and but I know we have some games even before the New Year, But to me, I guess it wasn't a bad result. Especially looking at the other results for the weekend. I think we kind of dodge a bullet. Especially with Liverpool drawing. I think the biggest winners would have been Everton and maybe Man City, who coming up from behind. However, I think overall we were the better team, of course. I think we played the better game. To me, we deserve to win. I definitely thought that we had enough firepower, especially off the bench, to win the game. Unfortunately, Vardy was lucky with a deflection, because that ball was definitely going wide. So he would have been lucky. Tonzebe would have been unlucky. For that ball to ricochet off of him to go into the goal. But I think we were the better team. I think you started to see the confidence in the team. You started to see a lot of consistency in the team. I think we started strongly again. I think the game was a physical one. Leicester came out at us. They fought the midfield battle very tough in the early parts of the game. But overall, I think we started to dominate. We show our qualities, and I'm not feeling like it is a loss. But to me, what I see it as is really a step in the right direction, because for the last few games we have been starting on the front foot, and that's the kind of consistency that I want to see in the team going forward.
Yeah, I hear you, but my thoughts on it, and before I continue, let me just get Sinatra, welcome and thanks for joining. He's saying correct, we deserve 3 points. My thoughts on it kind of different, we were in a position with 3 points, we would have gone into second place, regardless of the results that would have happened around us. Once we got 3 points, we would have been in second place, and if we really have to make that kind of push to say we're going to challenge for the title, we had to be consistent, And I'm not saying that the performance was poor, but it's these kind of games where you need to get the points, you need to see it through to really stay there. Because we know it's a kind of up and down, kind of zigzag season based on how the results go in. But still, if we really want to be in and around and thereabouts and really challenge and push for it, these 2 points that we dropped today could bite us at the back end of the season when you're tallying up your last points to see, well, who third and who fourth, who second and who first, And especially when you consider the fact that Liverpool dropped points, Chelsea dropped points, Spurs dropped points, you would have really fancy us taking the 3 points from the position that we were in, And as we say before, you say it, I say it, the results that happened didn't really, that during this week, it didn't hurt us too much, but it would have benefited us even more if we'd win the game, Sinatra is saying, as you said, Chelsea, Tottenham pool drop points, so it's a plus for us. But it would have been even better by Sinatra if we did win, you know? Nico, so let me get into team selection now.
I,
Talk to me.
yeah, but I think this Christmas, well, this season, the season will be games coming thick and fast. I think not losing, especially within this period, would be most important. I think if we really come out of this period unbeaten, let we say the draw and then let we say we come out with wins in other games, I think we would be 2-2 with Liverpool. As overall, yes, the 3 points would have been excellent, but I don't think that in the grand scheme that much was lost with the result on the weekend.
Yeah. Well, let me get to team news now. When we saw the team sheet, what was your thoughts and how you thought it played out during the game?
Definitely with the team sheet, I don't know if Oli, have a soft spot, for maybe like by performance during the week in the Carabao Cup against Everton. That he decided to start by, but have a soft spot for Lindelof. So they didn't want to drop Lindelof for maybe Atonzebe in the right back position. To me, that was definitely real. I think Leicester would have seen that, and they would have seen that. Um,
All right, so I think Nico got cut off. So that was part of the little challenge that we were having. All right. So until he comes back, my thoughts on the team news. You know, sometimes we just always say hindsight is really, golden. Because you would have thought that even with how some of the players would have performed against Leeds with that kind of confidence, they would have just rolled over into the Leicester game. But when you saw how Leicester was playing, you got the feeling immediately that some players just didn't fit this game and suit this game. For instance, the likes of James. But before I continue, Nico, I'm going to continue on the point you was talking about with the team news.
yeah. So I was saying in terms of, I was surprised with Lindelof decision to play Lindelof for the right back. It was real and natural to him. I don't think that helped the team at all. I think even a real good performance during the week to me, my opinion, is solid. Um, yes, we know for Sumensa a little shaky, but for some reason the team was real unbalanced with Lindelof on the right back. So I think that would have definitely we are starting off on the wrong foot because Leicester attacked him. Even on throw-ins, he was really shaking. Even on throw-ins, they were crowding us on when he was throwing the ball, we were losing the ball. And then the other question mark would have been James. You know, uh, 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 James really didn't have anything. You know what I mean? And I really don't know why Oli would have started with James. I think Leeds, he'd have a decent performance against Leeds, but as you was talking during the game, and you would have said if James came off at halftime, you wouldn't have been surprised because when he came off the game make a different tune.
Yeah. Even and I agree with you with the whole by Lindelof thing. Ollie seemed to have his favorites,
Hmm.
and sometimes it is benefit, sometimes it work, but when it do work, it is be glaring, you know. So I really thought, but he did explain why he didn't start Tuanzebe because he was saying with the long injury layoff, and Tuanzebe played, I think, the full game against Everton, just I think 2 or 3 days earlier.
Hmm.
And with the early kickoff against Leicester City, he didn't want to put that kind of pressure on him. So I don't know, right? But now it kind of put us in a further position because Lindelof get injured. So now he have no choice but to go with Bailly and Tuanzebe. Two of the most
Yeah.
injury-prone players in the team. So the gamble, I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
even McTominay and Fred, we saw when McTominay struggled, to make the kind of impact that we saw against Leeds. And this is why I just always say, we have players in the team that will show up for a particular game, and probably that was their game. But the
Mm.
to that level, That to see that consistently is not who the player is. You know, just have some people who just have a real good game, but that's not what you're gonna get from them week in, week out. You know, so I didn't think McTominay had a good game as well. And Dan James, as I was saying before, we saw from the kickoff that this was the wrong game for Daniel James. Because it would have been difficult to press Leicester because the players so good on the ball that would have Dan James running around like a headless chicken. And even in possession, you were seeing where we were lacking that kind of quality every time the ball went to Daniel James. He was losing the ball easy. He was making poor decisions. You know, even Ollie commend him for his defensive contribution. Even defensively, Daniel James wasn't getting nothing from him. You know, so I know Ollie would have gone with the same team that we played against Leeds because of the performance. But you brought in Daniel James to do a job against Leeds, which would make me think that you're looking at your opponent. So I don't think the selection should just be automatic because of that now, you know. So I thought probably if you had gone with, Greenwood or even go with Cavani, we could have started off the game with a little more quality now. You know. Notwithstanding though, even though Daniel James would have started, even though McTominay would have started, even though Lindelof and Bailly would have started, we still carved a really good chance to go one up early in the game. And who knows what could have happened after that in terms of our play, you know?
Yeah. I guess I did Rashford chance, right? Are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Right. For some reason, I think that was an inexplicable miss. You know what I mean? I think a chance like that, especially as a forward, and I'm saying I'm a 9, but a forward, that at least you had to put that on frame now. That was too easy. It's one-on-one, you alone, no pressure. I think that was a glorious opportunity that we spurned, and that would have been the perfect start. That would have put Leicester on the back foot from the first minute. That may have opened up the game more for us. Might have taken some of the press. Maybe we'd have had more space to run into, but because they would have been pressing to get an equalizer as soon as possible. And I think Rashford made a mess of that chance.
Yeah. I'm gonna just get some comments in. Right. Sinatra saying Bruno is such a good addition to the team this season. He has really made a difference. No doubt. Bruno is really smart. He's tricky, which is what we really need. I think the fear of being over reliant on Bruno is a scary thing. I don't know if you feel that same way, Sinatra.
Yeah.
Simeon saying, tell them McTominay was trash. He's saying, but James is trash for real.
Nah, man. McTominay learning the street. Or it'll be too harsh on McTominay. McTominay learning the street. Now we see that he has quality in him. It's just to get that quality out consistently.
I think what working against McTominay is, see, when you hit that kind of heights against Leeds, people all of a sudden just expect that level every game now. And as you say, he's learning still. He's still there learning.
Yeah, he's a United player. Yeah, United player. As long as they reach a level, we want to see it every week. The moment you start to drop that form, then we question, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that comes with the territory, yeah. Simeon also saying, but James is trash for real. Greenwood on the bench with James playing. Shake my head. I think that's, I don't know if you remember, Nico, when Sir Alex Ferguson used to just in certain games, like against Arsenal, you'll just see Park Ji-sung come in. And what Fergie used to say is Park would have known he was playing that Arsenal game weeks in advance, so he would have prepared physically, mentally for the game. Right? And then you'll see a kind of performance from Park as though, Park was starting all the games and confidence was high. But the next game, Park wasn't playing, So I think that is what Ollie's supposed to do, not just because James would have stepped up for a game that he was prepared for weeks in advance, that, he just automatically keeps his spot. because you had to look at your opponent, you had to look at your team, the makeup of your team, and then say, well, hey, here what's going on. Probably this game didn't suit James. I don't know, I just saying because I'm looking at how Fergie used to do it. But the gamble didn't work with James, and he had, even after 15 minutes, 54 minutes, he get the hook. So I think that was a miss there, So yeah, but you was talking about the Rashford miss, Nico, right? And I saw some comments on social media, and they were talking about chances, expected goals, but that's for certain players, if I should put it like that. And they were saying, well, how much goals Rashford expected to score in a game, and he did well that he converted one,
Okay.
And my issue with that is that statistic not taking into consideration the type of chances, and that statistic or that argument was to protect Rashford from any kind of harsh criticism. Now, I'm not saying that Rashford cost us the game, by no means, right? Yes, he should have put away the two chances he got, right? Which I thought were more or less clear-cut chances. I found that the first one, as you say, he was supposed to score that. Yeah, I mean, at least hit the target. Let the keeper pull off a brilliant save, or let hit the post, right? The second one, brilliantly taken, right? The third one, I find all Kasper Schmeichel do was move his hand 2 inches, and he saved that. Why so direct to the keeper? Rashford has to do better than just go for power. Just drop your hand and go for power, right? You made the keeper look better than he should have looked for a shot like that, especially one-on-one, right? And I thought those two chances, if you put probably the likes of Cavani, I just say because Cavani could try and miss it too. You put Bruno, these chances more than likely getting converted. So I have an issue with the whole argument, the expected chances versus what he should have scored doesn't take into consideration the type of chances. And I thought Rashford on another day would have a hat-trick,
Yeah. Well, for me, Reams, and I know definitely you would have question marks over it. But I think naturally Rashford will get a easier time of it, because of a bitter history now. Because Rashford, you could depend on Rashford to win a game fair at some point now. I think people maybe in terms of they might be more forgiving because Rashford maybe would have maybe won big games for us. You might feel that he's entitled to a miss or two. So people would be a bit more naturally forgiving because of that now. I think if his chances that is over and over and he getting chances in big games and not taking it, then people will start to get fed up. But I think because he have in the past, in recent past, he have been scoring big goals at big times that naturally people will be forgiven. So I don't know if that is your thoughts.
I mean, I guess I could understand what you're saying, but my thing is let us be what is irk me is when we're not consistent with the criticism, right? Don't come and tell me, don't come and bring no XG statistical argument, right, for one player. And then when a next player finds himself in the same situation and doesn't deliver, right, then you argue, then you're slating the player, to the extent where you're saying he's not good enough. We need to get rid of him, and that's my take, right? So I understand what you're saying in terms of that, but all I'm saying is let's be fair across the board with our criticism, And just because you wasn't here, I'll just repeat the point I was making. If it was other players, they were going to get slated,
Uh-huh.
you know. And I mean, I am all for people having, you know, preferences. You know, I am all for people having, you know, different opinions. I don't have a problem with that. And I am for one, Nico. We play football. We
Mhm.
know that, you know, people miss chances. They are human beings. All I'm saying is let the same measure be applied, how you judge certain things, let be applied across the board, you know? And that's all I'm saying. So, I mean, because I'm
No, but
saying,
it won't
I'm,
be. It won't
but
be because Rashford would have done things to give him that leeway. He would have scored goals or certain things to give him that leeway. Compared to if other players they may not have that leeway because the fans would have gotten frustrated over time now. So then when you're frustrated over time and then another opportunity come and you miss it, then definitely the pressure wouldn't be the same as a player who would have taken but missed one or missed two. So it wouldn't be, it just a natural perception of things, it just wouldn't be the same.
fair enough, fair enough. But I mean, as we said before,
Mhm.
and my thing is, you know, I mean, on another day, Rashford could have had a hat trick today, you know, but I don't want to um to dwell too much on that, and I'll tell you why. Because in spite of those misses, Nico, in the 87th minute, the team were in a winning position, right? And it's something Ferguson, well, Sir Alex Ferguson, always drilled into our heads. A great strike force will win your games, but great defenses will win your titles. And we saw that yesterday, where we were in a winning position. And all we had to do was hold it together for what, 3, 4 minutes? Let me say 6 minutes for the most, to include extra time. And the team was let down by the defense once again. You know? So, bar the chances Rashford should have scored, Nicola, we started to talk about the goals that we conceded yesterday.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, so until Nico come back on, let's get some comments, right? So Sinatra is saying Rashford is actually looking a lot more mature now. He will only get better, very skillful, speed, just like Cristiano Ronaldo. Very true, very true. Rashford, you've seen the maturity with Rashford. That misheader though, but it's football. It happens. He will learn from that, right? The defense in a mess. Go ahead, Nico. I don't know if you're there.
Yeah, guys, again, I apologize for the internet connection today. It's horrible. Yeah,
Hmm.
we started to say, I was talking about the goals we conceded. Um, for the first goal, I think Bruno, I don't know what he tried. I don't know why he tried to nutmeg that player there when he could have simply just passed it back to the player behind him and had a player free just behind him, and then we reset the ball and we move up the field in a more controlled manner. I think the decision for Bruno to try to beat that player there was a poor one. It happened. He tried to recover the ball. It fell to Barnes. I think McTominay, well, from what I saw, McTominay tried to, or he overcompensated, trying to defend the right foot shot. But Barnes definitely is good on both feet, and I definitely saw a miscommunication because Bruno would have been coming back to try to recover his mistake, and Bruno was kind of trying to cover the right foot, and when we be hoping that McTominay would have covered the left foot, and McTominay ended up continuing to mark the right foot more or less, or expecting a cut back to the right foot, which didn't happen. And I think the shot Barnes take was a perfect one. Sometimes I applaud those type of strikes. I think the Head didn't have a chance. I think the Head dive after the ball passing. Was a
Hmm.
perfect strike. But however, we could have definitely done better. I think McTominay, and maybe the communication is understanding the situation. You have cover coming around for the right, they try and mark the left. But I guess it happened so quickly that for me really difficult to blame somebody. But McTominay would have definitely had to take a part of the licks. With Bruno definitely for the first era where he tried to beat a man when he had players supporting him. Well, definitely had to take some of the blame also.
I tend to think differently, and I'm glad you took some time to break down that passage I played there, because I think after Bruno, no, we all agree that the era started with Bruno, right? Now, even Bruno knew he made a mistake, and you pointed it out as well. Bruno tried to correct his error. So when Bruno lost the ball, he tracked the player, and he was on the player tail to try to recover, right? I always say McTominay, Fred is the type that will close down play, while McTominay is more of the zonal type of player. You always find McTominay as a, for instance, right? And I just digressing for a moment. A team will be pressing us, and you will find Fred chasing the player with the ball, right? As opposed to McTominay now, who will be jogging into space. Sometimes that zonal thinking will work. Sometimes, but I think more times than not, you have to press the player to force an error, right? In the situation where we were talking about just now, with Bruno losing the ball and Bruno following the player who was in possession, it had too much that happened after Bruno lost the ball for me to say, well, it's Bruno's fault that goal scored, right? Mistakes happen all over the field, but it's how we recover and how we make up for the error. And I thought after that, Bruno forced the ball to Barnes. Barnes took the ball on his left. Now Barnes strong on his right foot. You say that, and I don't have an issue with that. But we know, right? Watching Barnes, we know Barnes could strike with both feet. So whether Barnes strong on his left foot or his right foot, or let me say he's probably strong on his right foot, he could shoot with his left. And the current and present danger, the ball was on his left foot. So you have to close down the left foot, Nico. Now, probably McTominay didn't see Bruno coming to cover the right. Fair enough. But the present danger was on his left foot. You need to close down that left foot. Let him chop on you. Who knows, somebody might be recovering. Let me see him chop on you, Nico, and shoot. Right? Because what ended up happening was because if you look back at the clip, Baye realized McTominay was not closing down on Barnes. So Baye now push. And this is when I thought De Gea gets shadow. That is why De Gea reacted so late to the shot, because his defender now had to push to compensate for McTominay lack of closing down. And that's how that goal scored. So De Gea see that ball late. So for me, I understand that Bruno made the mistake, but for me, McTominay is responsible, and I give him full blame for not closing on that player.
Full blame? Oh Lord,
Full
it was
blame.
easy.
Full blame. Full blame.
Well,
You remember,
it has some thoughts, right? That most of the time when I go score, you look for 2 plays prior, right? 2 plays prior to where the play broke down now. So in terms of that, come on, now, what would have happened was when you lost a ball, sometimes you lose the ball and you're out of shape because you would have been maybe defending. Defenders would have been pulled all over the place, or maybe you're counter-attacking, or maybe you're pressing a team with all your players up, and then you lose the ball, and of course, the domino effect of that could lead to a goal, right? So a lot of the times you look, for 2 plays before to see where you could have prevented it now. So to say for McTominay to take full blame, with the team still reshaping, because we were defending, and sometimes in that moment you might not have a full understanding of the shape of your team now. So sometimes it has happened where you just lose your bearings for a moment, not knowing where space is, not knowing where your players is, not knowing where the opposition players are, and those decisions are split-second decisions, and due to McTominay maybe being caught unawares in a bit, it could have also led to the goal. So to say the full blame to McTominay, I think yes, definitely he could have closed down better. Definitely, he would have compensated on Barnes cutting back on the right foot, which he should have, as you would have said, looked at the danger, should have shut down the danger, right? But still, I think Bruno had to take some part of the blame for that also.
But I mean, just to go back to that point, right, Nico? The 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 play the player the two players sorry prior to that we were bringing the ball out from the back, so our defensive positioning were more or less intact, right? The transition was quick for Leicester, so I understand that. But you already had McTominay wasn't in the right position. What I'm saying is basically, even though the shape of our defense may not be proper in its ideal sense, we had enough players back to nullify or to deal with the threat. What we had McTominay doing was second guessing and second thinking himself. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that is where the opening showed itself, and that is why Barnes took the shot. Right? Now, though Barnes have a backlift, we always talk about Mason Greenwood, do have a backlift and the kind of power he will get in the shot that he'll take. Barnes not like that. Barnes have to size for the shot. So you telling me Barnes traveling with the ball, he's setting. You see the man setting and you won't close on the space because you think he can chop again, and for him to leg out a shot with that kind of ferocity. Come on, man. I can't accept that McTominay had to take full blame for that. Trust me. But I guess
technical difficulties for a bit.
The second goal, Nico, right? 7 minutes about, I think it was the 87 minutes, so I guess it was probably 3 minutes plus whatever added on time. I can't remember the exact time that goal score we conceded. But the game was in the bag. Cavani came on, play a brilliant ball through to Bruno. Bruno took his goal beautifully. And all we had to do was see out the game for the remaining 6 minutes. And I mean, as we all see and all know, our defense always has errors. And that's something for the life of me. I could never, it's like I can't trust my defense, Nico. We defend them errors. People sleeping, Yeah. I don't understand. It had so much plays that we didn't see anybody trying to recover or to correct, and Leicester just walk through the left-hand side, play the ball across, and Vardy, out of 3 defenders in our box, Vardy was the only person to move.
Nobody move, eh? Yeah, I'm unfortunate again. Well, again, how I look at it, right? Vardy is a striker by trade. Let me say he's similar to a Cavani type in terms of they know to smell chances and they know the kind of movements to make to create chances for themselves. They're always on their toes. That fox in the box, you're always sniffing, you're always looking, you're always trying to think 1 and 2 steps ahead of the defender. And I think that is where Vardy outsmarted them. Vardy thought pattern was like a striker, a true striker by let me say, I don't want to go so far, but they say by birth. That's something that's cut out for certain things, to see something ahead of everybody else, to do things that other people naturally will be slower in thought and thinking of. And I think Vardy has definitely honed his skill as a striker. Is able to think 2 and 3 steps ahead of defenders, and that is what would have created that chance for him. Right, the chance would have been going wide, but that's his movement in the area when everybody else was stagnant, everybody else wasn't seeing the potential threat, that he was alive to it, and he to me he made the right play, right? You say as we would say he guessed, we hope that hey maybe the ball could cut back here, it did, he took his chance, so mine was going wide, and Leicester ended up lucky.
All right, and I really like what you're saying, Nico. Well, here is my thing, right?
Mm,
You telling me you know that and Tuanzebe and Bayi don't know that?
mm-hmm,
You understand what I'm saying? How it is, you know that. You not a professional footballer, Nico. Right? You're not getting paid
mm-hmm,
millions. And you know that Vardy is this and Vardy will sniff out chances and Vardy movements deadly. Vardy is a striker by birth. In defining his style and his how he does play. And you telling me Bayi and Tuanzebe don't know that? To at least say, hey, yeah, what's going on? Even if a 50-50 ball coming in the box, I stay in on Vardy. You understand what I'm saying? To ensure that nothing falls to this man's feet. Vardy's a predator
yeah,
horse. How it is my two defenders. You understand what I'm saying? Could totally flat-footed in the box. And this is why I have to agree with what the great Sir Alex Ferguson say. Your defense is what does win your titles. And with that defense we have, Nico,
exactly.
we're not winning nothing. I hope that make me eat my words. You understand what I'm saying? Because that goal we concede to draw that game, I mean, so much unacceptable goals we conceded with this at this club, eh?
Mm,
But oh gosh, man, 3 defenders in
yeah,
the box, 1 striker, and he still get through.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I think,
unacceptable.
yeah, I think also what it is too is confidence. I think our defense to have the confidence to believe within themselves that they could hold out. Because when you're confident, you're saying, yeah, wherever the stuff where them is going, but I think our thinking is like, hey, the man could score anytime. Hey, oh gosh, the man, hey, I feel somebody could score, and I think the mentality is not of, hey, we in penetrable now. I think their mentality is, hey, they could score, and I think you've seen it for the entire season. As long as another team have more belief than us in terms of they could score, they're scoring. And I know Maguire is definitely not the answer. Maguire definitely do have that. I don't know how we're going ahead correcting that. I know Lindelof right now struggling with his back injury. Not reliable. You can say because of the back injury, he's definitely not reliable. But we know he's not reliable. So then what next? What next? So what are we going to do about this situation in the back? Where we lacking leadership, where we lacking confidence, where we lacking the know-how to see out games. What next? Is it that we would dip in the transfer market? Is it that we would live out however long with Lindelof, and well, we know Maguire will be there for a while, but with Lindelof and Bailly and the rest, how long we would continue doing that without really bringing reinforcements to really add that leadership and that steel that we need.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I mean, I think the transfer window couldn't come at a better time. We 3 days or 4 days away from the transfer window opening. And I really hope, Nico, as you say, because we're looking at Lindelof injury, we don't know, the extent to which, because we know it's something that he's struggling with for quite some time. We so Lindelof out. We cannot rely on Eric Bailly, for one reason or the other, whether it's injuries or
Mhm.
suspensions. And Tuanzebe is the next one who proven that he's full of potential, but injuries could get it better of him.
Mhm.
So I think the transfer window coming at a very very good time where I think Oli needs to say here what's going on. We need to bring in a defender. Now, I know January is not the best time to do these kind of signings to get ideal players, because I mean, it's either the club don't want to sell or whatever. But I think if we're not going for who we want, we had to find some kind of stopgap measure. Sign a defender, a quality defender on loan. If it's have one over there, use your scouting network. This is Manchester United. All they're paying big money for scouts. Get somebody, right? Because we need players to come in here and show up that back because I'm not confident of that back line. You make a point about the lack of confidence of our defenders thinking that hey we could concede. And I'm just thinking, well then why not try your best to overcompensate, in that regard. If I know I'm going to concede, well then let me make sure I extra, you know. Then if I know we could then let me make sure I keep an eye on Vardy. Let me do more than I'm supposed to. Let me follow Vardy around. Let Vardy pull me out of position if you understand what I'm saying now. You know? So I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Oli gonna fix that. You know? Um so Nico, I think we more or less cover everything, right? I don't know if you have any closing thoughts, you know.
Yeah, yeah, we have a game. Yeah, we have a game coming up on Wolves. I think Wolves is kind of a wounded animal. We know that they were recently. Um, they draw today, which was a good draw against Spurs. They want to move up the table. I think it will be a difficult game, but however, I think that we coming into our form. I think that
All right. So yeah, so guys, you're seeing the challenges that we were having, with the connection, you know. So let me just give my closing remarks, and closing thoughts. Um, yeah, as Nico was saying, Wolves not going to be any, you know, easy opponents on Wednesday, or Tuesday, is it? All right. Was not going to be easy. We saw that they actually dominated Tottenham today, and they were unfortunate to only get a point, because when they checked it, they were actually the better team for the majority of the game. Um, so, and then when they consider how potent their attack is versus how leaky and suspect and makeshift our defense, is looking, especially going into this next game without Wan-Bissaka, without Lindelof, is a cause for concern. However, I still think with the kind of consistency that we've been seeing, from our team, how we start in games, we're really showing that we had the ability to break down defenses, areas where we would have struggled last season. But since Bruno came in, we've been seeing so much things happening with Cavani, coming in as well. We've seen how we can change how we attack teams. So Wolves promises to be a real test, especially with our defense being makeshift and suspect. But I mean, we mentioned before, our attack and play, how we start in games has been better. So I think we should be able to get a result, man. Nico?
yeah, guys, a lot of technical difficulties today, so I want to stick and cut off again. But the World's Games are an exciting game. I think from looking at the table reams, I think we have a real decent squad to really challenge. I was looking at even Liverpool's squad today, and I think for me, outside of Mane, Salah, and the two wing backs, I mean, I think they're there for the taking. Um, Chelsea has some depth, but they're inconsistent. Spurs all over the place. Um, City definitely is a major threat. Though, mind they're still not playing to their full potential. So I think with the squad we have, I think we can really challenge the top this season. I think we're coming into a decent in our form of recent. I think if we keep it up, post this hectic season here, I think from the turn of the year, I think when the games kind of staggered a bit more, we'll be in a real decent way of form to really challenge the to the top of the Premier League. And I think it's exciting times coming up ahead for United.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So let's see how it goes against Wolves on Tuesday. So guys, that brings us to the end of our review of the Leicester City game. I mean, we do apologize again for the technical challenges that we having. We know it does make it a little difficult to follow when that those kind of issues arise. But we do thank you for your patience, right? So we will try our best to make sure that we are here on Tuesday evening to bring the review of the Wolves game, and let's hope that the team, the boys, could go out there and really represent, yeah, and get the result. And the result is a win, Nico? So thanks for joining, guys, and we will see you all at the next one. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night.